Pinterest is really becoming an active marketplace. So it wants products to be floating around its ecosystem so that pinners can easily find your services, your products, and buy them without friction.
Let's get straight into it, Megan. Why do so many business owners completely ignore Pinterest while they spend hours trying to crack this Instagram algorithm, which, you know, is like boo-boo?
People don't realize that it is a search engine. It is a platform that has been designed to deliver up your services, your products, to build an audience that's different than what we would have on Instagram or even YouTube or other places.
What are some mistakes, or the number one mistake that you see most business owners make when it comes to Pinterest?
No matter what it is, your people are there, but you have to think how they think. And I always call this, you solve what they are searching.
And I know there are many people who may be listening to the podcast who have never used Pinterest before for their business. So what is the first thing that they should do today? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Social Media Decoded podcast, the number one podcast to help you understand social media better so that you grow your business, get more clients, and monetize. And I'm super excited, y'all. You know, I have been bringing back my guest interviews, and today's episode is going to be a game changer for you. I just want you to get out your notes and your pens already, because we're diving into a platform that most entrepreneurs are completely sleeping on, friend, and that is Pinterest. So if you think Pinterest is just for DIY projects or wedding planning, think again, okay? This platform is a marketing goldmine that can bring in consistent sales, okay? Leads that you need into your business with zero dancing. You don't have to dance because we're not on TikTok. Sorry, TikTok. All right, I know you might love TikTok. And to break it all down, y'all, I have the Pinterest queen herself, Meagan Williamson, in the building. And she's a Pinterest marketing expert and educator, recognized by Pinterest. So you already know I don't bring just any experts on the Social Media Decoded podcast. I bring on the best of the best. And today she is here to spill all the juicy secrets about how to turn your Pinterest into the best performing marketing channel, friend, even if you have 0 followers. So if you're ready to crack this Pinterest code and start bringing it freely, grab yourself again a good cozy spot, because Megan is about to blow your mind. Megan, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I just want to bottle up that intro and I'm going to play that for my husband. I'm going to play that for
Play it for them, girl.
Honestly, you summed it up so beautifully. It is such an opportunity. And thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I'm always, it's really nice, such a breath of fresh air to be able to bring Pinterest to the people so that people can, not that thing that we're just pinning birthday parties for, but that we're actually getting strategic for. And like you said, generating leads, getting people on our list, making sales while we're sleeping, because ultimately we all need a little more of that.
We all need a little more of that. So let's get straight into it, Megan. Why do so many business owners completely ignore Pinterest while they spend hours trying to crack this Instagram algorithm, which we know is like boo-boo?
Right now, oh my gosh, it's horrifying. Listen, this is what I think is, if I have to be totally honest, I think that Pinterest is just something that is so misunderstood. And people just think oh, that's where I just plan birthday parties and my what I'm going to cook on Sunday, or if I'm planning a trip. And people don't realize that it is a search engine. It is a platform that has been designed to deliver up your services, your products, to build an audience that's different than what we would have on Instagram or even YouTube or other places. And I'm not going to talk badly about another platform. Different platforms have different things, but Pinterest is just this elephant in the room that people don't even realize they could be using it, because they're when you start asking people hey, are you on Pinterest? On a personal level, they're all oh yeah, 100%. I planned my wedding there, or when I had a baby, or I got a puppy, or I'm moving, planning a new bedroom, I'm there. But they're not using it for their businesses. And I think it's just due to a lack of understanding. When it doesn't click right away, we give up.
So if someone is posting content on Instagram and TikTok, but not on Pinterest, can you tell us how much money are we leaving on the table? Because I'm sure that it's a lot.
Oh, yeah. If you're making $10,000, around the $10,000 a month mark from those other social media platforms, you could be making easily another $2,000 to $5,000 from Pinterest alone, if you have the content to support it, which is really what it comes down to. Are you creating short form video for another platform? TikTok, YouTube, Instagram Reels? you got to be on Pinterest. You got to be repurposing that content. If you are creating, if you're on Threads, we chatted that we met on Threads. If you're on Threads, if you do email marketing, anything like that, you could be repurposing all of that content to Pinterest and making more money. And a lot of it is passive, right? We're not talking about posting today and making money today. We're talking about posting today and making money in 6 months, a year, 2 years, like the sweetest kind of money, right? Where you're like, thank you, previous self, for doing that thing. And that's what I really love about that evergreen power that Pinterest has that we just don't see on Instagram or even Threads or other platforms that are very like in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that makes total sense. And I think most people don't really realize that Pinterest is a search engine. It's not a social media platform. I heard you say that too. It works completely different. Now, can you just break that down for us, how it works?
Yeah. So, when we talk about platforms, we just say, social media platforms. And from that perspective, yes, you could say Pinterest is in that sort of mixed bag of different platforms. But the thing is it's built more like Google. So the technology that drives what we would call the Pinterest algorithm is not what drives the algorithm on Instagram or even TikTok or these other platforms. So people are actively searching on Pinterest for ideas, products, solutions. And that's why it's so different, because you don't have to have any followers. You don't have to be like somebody who's been in business a long time. If you're optimizing for search and optimizing for discoverability, then Pinterest will deliver you up to those clients, to those potential buyers, subscribers, if you are showing up and creating content that's, meeting your customer where they're at. And so I feel like there's an element of control. Doesn't it kind of feel like when we're on other platforms, we don't have control what pops off? And sometimes it's like something personal, some little throwaway comment. Whereas like Pinterest, I feel like because we can control our keywords, because we can show up to answer a question that they might have about the service you provide, the thing that you sell, is you are meeting them with a particular intent. So there's search intent in an algorithm like Google, YouTube, TikTok to some degree, and Pinterest that you just don't see on Instagram or some of the other platforms. And I love that. Like, I'm a little bit of an introvert. I ghost. I just emailed my list and I said that I just launched. I was tired. My kids got sick. I didn't have any energy to show up, but I didn't worry. Like, I was still getting email subscribers from Pinterest. People were finding me on Google. And so I have all these things in my own marketing, and that's what I teach, right? But I'm not just somebody who teaches it. I live and breathe it myself and benefit from it. And that's what I think for your audience, what they need to think about. Are they building out parts of their marketing, of their social media that's working for them when they're not working? And that's the difference in the technology. Instagram only works for us when we're feeding the machine, right? Or TikTok can die off to a certain degree. If you're not feeding it new videos, you're not showing up and engaging. And I just don't have time for that anymore.
Oh, we don't have time for that anymore. The kids, we have all the things, and then we have to show up and do all of that. No, you explained that amazing. And I know there are many people who may be listening to the podcast who have never used Pinterest before for their business. So what is the first thing that they should do today?
Okay, so if you're going to hop onto Pinterest today, make sure you have a business account. We are business users. We are strategic. We want access to data. And to be able to have access to that data and ownership of what we're doing on that platform, we need to have a business account. And that unlocks, rich analytics. We can claim our website. We can claim our Instagram account. So if you've gone all in on Instagram, don't worry. You could be repurposing that content to Pinterest and doubling down on your audience and your income. And then, of course, you want to think about what is your particular audience. So I'm sure there are people listening to this. Some of them might be service providers, so they're client-based work. Others might have products, digital products, physical products. No matter what it is, your people are there, but you have to think how they think. And I always call this, in my program, we call it like you solve what they are searching. So no matter your audience, you're thinking like your people, not necessarily like you, like an expert. And so what we want to do is map our strategy onto how our audience is actively searching and discovering content on Pinterest. And part of that is Pinterest keywords, understanding what they're searching for, what words they're using to describe their own things that they're looking for. And that could be aspiration, inspiration, education, products. Pinterest is really becoming an active marketplace So it wants products to be floating around its ecosystem so that pinners can easily find your services, your products, and buy them without friction. And this is what is going to be so big for the rest of the year and moving into other, even future years, is thinking about, is your product or service easy to buy? Can I sign up for your email list quickly? How can I listen to your podcast easily? And so Pinterest is really trying to remove that friction from the customer experience.
Oh, it sounds like I need to get back into Pinterest, Megan. You just gave because the podcast people can
Please.
come from there. Oh my goodness. It's so
Every
many.
podcast is an opportunity, Michelle. Every YouTube video. I just got off a one-to-one call. YouTuber who's been popping off. She's like, honestly, because when we all have our default social media, right? Like, what's yours? What's your default social media where you love showing up, Michelle?
Instagram.
Right. Well, sometimes that is just, that's what we're used to. The thing is that we all have our places we like to be and that we find easy. And it's probably because it's just how you're built, right? It's intuitive. You're good at it. You've been rewarded in the past. And so what I always want to say to people is it's not about something new. It's about reformatting and adjusting and optimizing what you have from your podcast, from your blog content, from your YouTube channel, your TikTok channel. I have lots of people come to me and say, like, I'm doing really well on TikTok. How could I get more out of this? It's important for us as business owners to diversify how people discover us, right? So a lot of us are really good at these conversations, one-to-one, right? Put you and me in a room, we're going to be good. But we have to think about how we discover new products, new services, or if I'm actively searching for something, how do I find it? I find it through search technology or recommendation, right? Someone tells me, oh, I love that. So you have to think about when you're growing your business, how can people discover me? How can I get more out of my content? And that's what Pinterest is so wonderful for. I'm done saying like, oh, you have to have a blog. You do not have to have a blog, but you do have to have content. And we can drive people to your podcast, to your YouTube channel, to your Instagram account or your TikTok account, wherever you might be, wherever you love hanging out. We can drive people there so that they can get to know you, love you, fall in love with you, subscribe, all those things, and gobble up all your products.
And that's what we want them to do. So these are some great tips. I hope you all are taking notes, okay? And make sure that you press that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode, because I'm bringing on amazing experts just like Meagan to give us the real details. Now, here's what I want to talk about next. I want you to be completely real and honest with us. What are some mistakes or the number one mistake that you see most business owners make when it comes to Pinterest?
They treat it like other social media platforms, so they just don't get it. And they don't really want to give it the energy of having that mindset shift. So I think the mindset shift that it's different from the other platforms that you might already be hanging out on. So spending that extra few minutes understanding, refocusing. This is about your people. It's about your audience. It's not about, this is where when I talked about understanding your keywords, understanding how your audience is searching, that's really, really important. You have to remember that people who are finding you on Pinterest, they have never heard of you before, most likely. So think about it. What would that first touch point look like? You have to remember that they don't know how amazing you are. They don't know how great your podcast is and how much they're going to learn. So we have to really simplify things, make it easy tell them exactly what they're going to get. Listen to this podcast, learn everything you need to know about Pinterest in 2025. Very clear, concise. The thing is that people on Pinterest search in very predictable ways. They're searching for tutorials. They're searching for inspiration. They're using those keywords and hand delivering it up to us. So a big mistake is that people are not adjusting what they're doing. They're writing the cutesy caption from Instagram, just popping it over. They're not optimizing for the platform. So Pinterest has like every platform, has particular specs for video and for images. So what we really need to remember is that Pinterest wants to serve you up to the right person. We call this relevancy. So it's your job to make sure that your content is relevant. So kind of skip the cutesy stuff, skip the fact that you think they might already know who you are. They don't. And that's that other than being consistent, because I see people come and go, they bring sort of like, well, I tried it for a week and it didn't work out. No, this is a platform, 6 months. You need to give it at least 6 months of consistent showing up. Remember, search engines are about understanding what your products are, what your services are, who you're helpful to. And then it will begin delivering you out in the feed. So that can take weeks, months. It could take it's not going to happen overnight. And then what it starts to figure out is like, okay, who wants Michelle's content? Who needs Michelle's podcast? And then it starts delivering it out more and more and more. First, we see impressions go up. Then we see saves. Saves tells us how healthy your content is and how valuable it is. Then we see conversions and website traffic. So a lot of business owners, they give up after a few weeks, right? Oh, I pin there once a day for 3 weeks and I didn't make any sales. No, this is the type of place you do something today and I make a sale for my efforts. Actually, I just ran a challenge. In the first 2 days of my challenge, I had 50 signups from Pinterest, but I haven't pinned that challenge since last year. So the thing is that people take action at a later date. And that's really what you need to think about. They're saving today to make a purchase or investment in 3 to 6 months.
Not a long-term game. No, I'm sorry. It is a long-term game. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme, guys. Okay, you're not gonna post to Pinterest today and then tomorrow you're gonna blow up. What Meagan is saying is we need to be patient, just like with the podcast, because it's not
100%
either. So just think about it like that. Okay. Think about it like that. Now, here's the juicy part, Meagan. Let's talk about making money on Pinterest. Here's my question for you. Now, if you had to, hypothetically, if you had to make $5,000 in 30 days on Pinterest, what would your strategy be?
Oh, okay. So this would be my strategy. One, I would hopefully be selling digital products, selling low-tier digital products directly on Pinterest. Huge opportunity, especially if the product is under $50. Remember that anything over $50, $100, that's not really an impulsive buy anymore. And so what we'd want to do is make sure we're bringing it to the places where we can convert higher ticket. If you're looking to get people to buy your coaching, or if you're a high-end fine artist or whatever it might be, if it's more expensive, you want to bring them to places that are more high touch, more personal, more conversation sort of marketing. So if you have low tier digital products, I would be creating, 30 days, I'd be creating between 30 to 60 pins that lead directly to my digital product sales pages or product pages that really explain what it is, what it's going to get them. Okay, that's one. Two, I would look at affiliate opportunities. Now, Pinterest is a longer game, but there is a huge opportunity and affiliate marketing is actually supported on the platform. So I would begin creating complementary content that becomes like what would I recommend? And literally every single industry has this. Tools of the trade, things that we use for people like you and I might be our favorite apps. It might be our favorite educators or digital tools. Like, who do you learn this from? Who do you learn that from? You could become an affiliate for that program. Even myself, you could use something like Amazon Associates and you could recommend business books, gear, right? Like a good mic, that type of thing. I would make content, video content that is, I'm tagging the affiliate links right in the video. And if I had the capacity, I would also create some long format content either on YouTube or on my blog that would be like longer format that I would create pins that drive people. And guess what? I would, even if I didn't make money in that 30 days, I would make money next year, the year after that. I once made $800 in a single day from a sale on Pinterest from something that took me 30 seconds, Michelle. And I did that. It was like a year later. And I was like, $800 affiliate sale. What was that? Oh, that was something I pinned a year ago, because that's how it works, right? It has that long-term longevity, sustainability. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. So I would focus on linking to digital products, bringing people into my email marketing. I convert email marketing. All roads lead to my email list. That's where I share the best goodies, the best tutorials, the best actionable tips. And then, of course, when I'm launching something. So for me, I use Pinterest to build visibility and have new people find me. And then I want them to come onto my email list where I establish a relationship and launch and sell different products. So I would say that I would also be looking at lead generation. So I would be creating pins that are linked to my lead magnets and my freebies, my high value freebies, and bring people into my email funnel, which would also be converting, maybe bring them in for something that's $7, a tripwire, and then upselling them to something that's more expensive. And then that is how I would be making money quickly using Pinterest.
Well, everyone, I hope that you wrote all of that down, because I have a mental note, but now I'm going to go back and listen to this and take my notes too, because I'm going to be using
Mm,
Pinterest. Okay. $800.
I hope so.
That's really good. That also segues into something else that I would love to learn. Like, what is the wildest success story that you've ever, from one of your clients or someone you know, or
Yeah.
even yourself, that they've gotten from
Oh
Pinterest?
gosh. So I worked with a one-to-one client last year. And when we started working together, they were sitting and they were doing well. Like this is a client that they were sort of fumbling through, but they're in the wedding business. And they were doing well. And they were sitting around 10 million views. And they were making around $100,000 a month from Pinterest. Sounds good. After a strategy, 30 days later, well, technically, they got back to me about at the 40-day mark after I helped them. And then, of course, they have to implement what I taught them. At the 45-day mark, they were up to 23 million views and $365,000 in sales directly from Pinterest. That is not assisted sales. So I didn't even touch like people who came into their world and made, that they made money through an assisted conversion. Those were direct conversions from Pinterest. And they were just like, oh my God, like we had no idea. We thought we were doing good. Like we thought we were not like they knew they could fine tune some things, but they didn't realize just how much money they were leaving on the table. And they're in an industry where those people are actively, literally saying, serve me up like hair accessories. I want dress inspiration. I want flower inspiration. And it's like, oh, hello, we're here. And since then, they've just like continued, even if they've had any ups and downs with like sort of the more vanity metrics, the money that they're making from Pinterest alone through direct conversions is just mind blowing. That's like one of the most successful stories of people who have just like, even me, like I feel like I was so proud of them. Their team was so eager to really implement everything I shared with them. And then we've had other big wins, like new e-commerce store coaching folks who are coaches who are get a client inquiry. I had a student who she launched her coaching business. She started using Pinterest and 9 months later booked a $10,000 one-to-one client who found her on Pinterest. Like that is so sweet, right? And then obviously e-commerce people who get their first sales from Pinterest who might be newer, so they weren't even around during the heyday of Instagram. So they are super excited where they've only ever had family, buy their products or people that love them, and bless that first sale that comes from a stranger from Pinterest. Again, amazing. And I've seen people blow up their email lists in my program. When you start, everyone has a different baseline. So your goals might be different, more sales, start your email list, or even just I have people who are artists. So they commission their art and they try to get licensing, or they want to be featured in a magazine. And we also have beautiful case studies and reviews from people who got picked up by Martha Stewart or a home decor magazine and get featured like that. For a small business owner, that exposure is phenomenal. And they got found on Pinterest.
Wow. Just wow. I hope you all are taking notes, because that was really good and just goes to show you that you're going to put this hard work in now. Okay. But it's like you're watering, like you're planting the seeds and they're going to bloom later. The flowers are going to bloom later. Okay.
That's just it. For anyone that gardens, right? Like I love gardening, but it is patient. It's so hard. You plant your seeds in April, May, you're taking care of everything. And I get to benefit from my garden into September, October. I'm always like, oh, I love this. It's exactly just like that. And if anything, it actually just keeps getting better. And that's what I think when people really invest in Pinterest, Michelle, and they're sort of thinking about, okay, I have my content from Instagram, I have my TikTok strategy, my YouTube strategy. How can I bring that to Pinterest? It's about diversifying how people discover you and find you. And we all live in a really fragile time. Like, look what happened when TikTok went down or when the algorithm changes on Instagram, right? I just hate to think when someone puts all of their eggs in one basket. And even if you're having a lot of success with one platform, protect yourself and have a second place. Even me, what if my Instagram or my Pinterest shut down, right? What would happen to my business? What would happen if my Instagram was gone tomorrow, or my email list? I ran into an email list problem. People always talk about own your website, own your email list. I had an email platform problem during my own launch. I did not worry. I had other ways to talk to my people and talk to my customers. We corrected ship and we weren't worried because I've worked that into my system.
This is just so good. We could go on and talk about Pinterest all day, you all, but wow, I hope you all have been taking notes. I keep saying that because this is so great. I think so many people are tired of these other platforms, and Pinterest can be our other outlet. And so thank you for sharing all of that.
So welcome.
Because it's needed. Now, I want to talk about like a kind of rapid fire really quickly. Okay. Let's be messy for a second. If you had to choose, Pinterest or Instagram?
Oh, Pinterest for sure. It's my ride and die. It's my ride and die all the time.
YouTube or TikTok?
Oh, TikTok, but I want to say YouTube. I want to say YouTube.
Because YouTube is that long-term too.
Exactly. But listen, I haven't made a video since I was heavily pregnant and having problems breathing. That was my daughter's now 3.
Wow.
I'm changing that.
Yes, we are. Meagan, this has been such a game-changing episode, but I don't even want to go, but we have to go, y'all. Y'all know I like my short episodes to the point. We can talk for hours and hours.
Leave them hanging,
yes,
Michelle.
Leave them hanging. But before we go, can you just drop one last Pinterest tip that most people don't know that they need?
Yeah, absolutely. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your short form video. You're going to strip that watermark. You're not going to go out and create content for Pinterest. You are going to look at what you already have. Take that podcast, take that TikTok, that reel that you've already created. And what you're going to do is you're going to take off the watermark. You're going to upload it to Pinterest. You're going to grab a cover that shows us what it's about. You're going to add some text overlay that tells us exactly what we're going to learn. We're also going to use that text in our pin title. And then you're going to put it out into the world and you are going to let people find you. They are going to literally search for those terms and find you. That is my biggest tip. Just get going. Don't make it perfect. It can be sloppy. It can be fast. It doesn't. Just make sure you're using your keywords and upload that video because I know you're creating it. I know you are. So just get more out of it, right? Protect yourself.
Protect yourself. That was good. Protect yourself and do not keep creating content. We have all this content that we can repurpose. So let's do that.
I know, right?
Oh, this has been so good, Meagan. Where can people connect with you and grab some free resources and tools and all the things that you have, or whatever you have about dominating Pinterest? Okay.
All the places. So my website, so Meagan Williamson, WILLIAMSON.com. And then, so I have a few different freebies that I can share the link with you, Michelle. The people can, I have some Pinterest prompts. I have a viral pin guide. So basically how to optimize your images in your video for Pinterest. Easy peasy, all free, tons of teachings, even video tutorials in there. I'm a yapper, so you can find me on Threads. You can find me on Instagram is more personal. You're going to see my dogs and my kids and a little bit of my life. And those are really the best places to find me. My email list. I'm a diehard, like evergreen marketing. Like you say, you made me choose between Instagram and Pinterest. And just, I always fall back because I ghost. I go through periods where my kids are sick. So my email list is always where you're going to find me showing up as my best self.
I love it. Now, y'all, don't continue to miss out on the untapped potential that Pinterest has, okay? It has so much untapped potential. Take today's tips and apply them to your business today, because she gave some tips that we can apply right now, some things that we can go and do, okay? You all know I love to leave you all with actionable things that you can do and see results, okay? So make sure that you do that. And if you love today's episode, go ahead and take a screenshot. Make sure you tag me on Instagram at Michelle L. Thames and at the Social Media Decoded Pod. Okay, we want to reshare you. We want you to continue to listen to the Social Media Decoded podcast. So make sure that you also leave a rating and review so that we get found by more people. Meagan, this was such a great episode. I'm so grateful that you came on today to share all these gems about Pinterest because, my mind is just blown. I'm ready to get started. I'm ready to revamp
Let's do
Pinterest.
It. Well, thank you for having me. I so appreciate your amazing questions. And if anyone has questions, follow up. I love answering questions. So you guys know how to find me.
Yes, we will leave all Meagan's information down below in the show notes so you will have all of that information. And thank you all so much for tuning into another episode of the Social Media Decoded podcast. And I will talk to y'all in the next one. Peace.